we have seen about the polymers, but the main problem of the polymers is their biodegradability. In the sense, all the naturally occurring substances, if they are discarded over a period of time, they will in fact undergo degradation, so that it will also become a natural substance. Whereas all the synthetic polymers, they don't undergo the biodegradation, so they are available as such on the earth even if they are discarded. So there is, we are facing a highly polluted atmosphere because of these polymers, which are getting extensively used world over, and this non-biodegradability of these polymers are the major cause of pollution all over the world, which causing disposal problems. Okay, so with this in mind, now they have started making some of the biodegradable polymers. They have started making biodegradable polymers. One of the type is through 3-hydroxybutanoic acid. Hydroxybutanoic acid. This is 3-hydroxybutanoic acid. Polymerizing with 3-hydroxypentanoic acid. Hydroxypentanoic acid. So there is a copolymerization because the added molecules are different, and then they actually water molecule. It is a condensation polymerization. A water molecule also is discharged. So we are getting it. So the resultant thing will be like. So since it starts from here, CH3, CH2, C double bond O, okay, and then O of this will be getting added. And so C CH2 CH3, this O has come here. So this OH and H forms water. This H and OH, they form water. Okay, so this is again one, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this is beta, the poly beta hydroxy butyrate copolymerizing with beta hydroxy valerate. Beta hydroxy valerate. So it is a compound of polyhydroxy butyrate and valerate. Okay, polyhydroxy, butyrate and valerate. So now this is one biodegradable polymer. The second one is nylon 2,6. Nylon 2,6 is obtained from glycine. Glycine with aminocaproic acid. Glycine with aminocaproic acid. Okay, glycine with aminocaproic acid gives nylon 2,6. So this is, both these are biodegradable, so that if whatever is left over or the after usage, the wastage can be easily discarded by throwing it into any surface, whether it is sand or a water surface or whatever it is. So here also, this is also a condensation polymer where this is going to be OH and H will be going out, and here there will be another H. So I think the structure will be like NH, CH2, C double bond O. Okay. So these are the biodegradable polymers. So if the pollution or if the atmosphere has to be free or if the ecology has to be maintained or the environment has to be clean, we have to start using more of these biodegradable polymers. Another type of classification of polymers is based on their intermolecular forces holding them. Intermolecular forces holding them. The intermolecular forces can be due to van der Waals forces or due to hydrogen bonding. Okay, so now depending upon the intermolecular forces, the strength of this thing, there can be four types of polymers, namely elastomers, okay, then fibers, elastomers, then thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. Okay, elastomers, fibers, thermoplastics and thermosetting plastic. Let us see what is an elastomer. Elastomers are mostly linear polymers which have very, very loose intermolecular forces. The intermolecular forces are, I can say, intermolecular forces. IMF is very weak. So the intermolecular forces are very weak. So in the sense there is hardly any bonding. So because of this they are able to stretch. Because of this weak intermolecular forces, they are able to stretch. So an elastomer typically is a polymer which can be stretched to a particular position, up to a particular position. So this gives them the elasticity. But then there are few cross links. Okay, there are few cross links. Oh, so what is to be stretched has to be retraced, or it has to come back to its original position. Even if you take a rubber, you stretch the rubber, then when you leave the forces of external forces, it has to come back to its original position. So this original position retaining or retracing to the original position is possible because of the cross links. Okay, so this is the elastomers, and typically, in naturally occurring rubber has this comes under this elastomers, and any of this polymers, synthetic polymers like Buna S or Buna N or neoprene, they come under this category. I know very well this rubber has a natural elastic property, All these are required for making the automobile wheels, where it has to give the thing a small degree of elasticity and has to come back to its original position. So that is elastomers. And fibers. Fibers, you know very well, they are like thread-like things, but they have a very strong intermolecular forces of attraction, strong IMF. So this thing may be due to hydrogen bonding. Okay, very strong IMF, so that they can't be very stretched, or they are able to have very high tensile strength. Okay, the strong intermolecular bonding gives them the high tensile strength, so that the thread retains its structure, or it retains its rigidity throughout the application where it is used. So example is nylon. Okay, nylon 6/6, and you have polyesters. These are all fibers, so they are strongest. Then comes the thermoplastic. Oh, thermoplastics also are linear polymers. With a small branching. With a small branching. The intermolecular forces for the thermoplastics is in between, IMS of this is in between elastomer and fiber. Okay. Elastomer and fiber. Okay, fiber has a very high tensile strength, and the elastomers have a very low tensile strength, or very low intermolecular forces of attraction between the molecules, so that the strength here is in between, so that the thermoplastics on heating expands to a certain this thing, and or it can melt. They melts on heating, or it slightly expands on heating, and then it also becomes rigid on cooling. Once you cool it, it becomes rigid. So these thermoplastics are the ideal plastics which are used in our day-to-day life for making any of this utensils, like any buckets or any products where the day-to-day usage is there. So they are melted and then given a required shape, and then they are cooled so that we are able to get that shape. So these thermoplastics are the plastics which are used more in our day-to-day life. Okay, so these are thermoplastics. You have typically a polythene or whatever it is. Polythene, polyvinyl chlorides, all this come under that category. The last category is thermosetting plastics. Thermosetting plastics are highly branched polymers. They are highly branched polymers, and the intermolecular forces of attraction is very high. So intermolecular forces of attraction between the individual polymers is very high, so that once they are heated and set, they can't lose their shape. On further heating, it will only decompose, and it cannot be converted to the desired shape. So it is like almost use and throw plastics. So these are thermosetting plastics. They may have, of course, highly branched chain, and the IMF intermolecular force of attraction between the thing is high, and examples of them are bakelite, that is urea formaldehyde, bakelite, and others. So these are the 4 types of polymers based on the intermolecular forces of attraction between the individual polymers or individual molecules.